The restaurant became quiet whenever she walked in. Her name was Victoria Hale, the only daughter of billionaire businessman Richard Hale. She was young, beautiful, and always dressed in expensive clothes. But there was something about her that made every waitress nervous. Victoria never smiled. She rarely said thank you. If a glass was placed slightly wrong or her coffee was not hot enough, she would complain immediately. Be careful with her. The older waitresses always warned the new employees. She can get someone fired with one phone call. 24-year-old Emma Carter had heard the same warning on her first day at the luxury restaurant. Emma did not come from a rich family. She worked 2 jobs because she was saving money to help her mother pay their house bills. She had learned that rich people could be difficult, but she also believed that every person had a story. One rainy Thursday evening, Victoria entered the restaurant alone. The manager immediately became nervous and told Emma to serve her. Emma walked to the table with a polite smile. "Good evening, Miss Hale. May I take your order?" Victoria looked at her without smiling. "Bring me hot tea. And please make sure it is actually hot this time." "Yes, ma'am." A few minutes later, Emma returned with the tea. Victoria took one sip and suddenly pushed the cup away. "It is cold." Emma looked surprised. Steam was still rising from the cup. "I'm sorry. I can replace it immediately." Victoria stared at her. "You should have checked it before bringing it to me." Emma quietly took the cup away. The other waitresses watched from a distance. They expected Emma to become upset, but she didn't. She simply returned with another cup. "Here you are, Miss Hale." Victoria took a sip. This time she said nothing, but Emma noticed something strange. As Victoria lifted the cup, her hand was shaking. Emma said nothing about it. She only walked away. That evening, Victoria stayed for almost 2 hours. She barely touched her food. She kept looking at her phone, then at the restaurant door, as if she was waiting for someone who never came. When she finally stood up, a small envelope fell from her purse. Emma noticed it on the floor. "Miss Hale, you dropped something." Victoria quickly picked it up. For the first time, Emma saw fear in her eyes. Not anger, not arrogance. Fear. The next week, Victoria returned. Again, the other waitresses tried to avoid her table, but Emma was assigned to her. This time, Victoria ordered only tea. Emma placed the cup in front of her and noticed that Victoria was staring at the restaurant's large windows. Outside, heavy rain was falling. "Do you like rainy weather?" Emma asked casually. Victoria looked at her. "No." Emma nodded and walked away. A few minutes later, thunder suddenly shook the windows. Victoria dropped her spoon. Her face became pale. Emma immediately understood that something was wrong. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Victoria said quickly. But she wasn't. Another loud thunderclap came. Victoria closed her eyes and covered her ears. Emma sat beside her for a moment. "You don't have to be embarrassed," she said softly. Victoria looked at her with tears in her eyes. "I hate storms." Emma did not ask why. Instead, she said, "My mother is afraid of storms too. When I was little, I used to sit beside her and count the seconds between the lightning and thunder. It helped her feel safe." Victoria looked surprised. "You're not afraid of me?" Emma smiled slightly. "Should I be?" For the first time, Victoria almost smiled. That night, Emma discovered Victoria's hidden weakness was not money, pride, or anger. It was fear. When Victoria was 8 years old, her mother had died during a severe storm. Since then, loud thunder and heavy rain brought back painful memories. Her father was always busy with business, so Victoria had learned to hide her fear behind a cold and powerful personality. Emma never told anyone. Instead, whenever Victoria visited during bad weather, Emma quietly stayed nearby. One evening, Victoria asked, "Why are you always kind to me?" Emma thought for a moment. "Because I don't know what someone is carrying inside." Victoria looked down at her hands. "My father thinks I am difficult." "Maybe you are," Emma said honestly. Victoria looked up, shocked. Emma smiled. "But difficult people can still be hurting people." Victoria laughed for the first time. It was a small laugh, but the entire restaurant noticed. From that day forward, something changed. Victoria became less demanding. She began thanking the staff. She even apologized when she spoke harshly. But then one evening, something happened that changed everything. Victoria's father arrived at the restaurant. He was angry. He had discovered that Victoria had been visiting the restaurant alone and spending time talking to Emma. He walked directly to their table. "Victoria, we're leaving." Victoria stood up. "Yes, Dad." Then Richard looked at Emma. "You work here?" "Yes, sir." He reached into his wallet and placed a business card on the table. "You've been getting too close to my daughter. Keep this professional." Emma looked at the card but did not touch it. "I understand." Victoria suddenly looked at Emma. Her eyes were filled with fear again. This time it wasn't because of thunder. She was afraid of losing the first person who had treated her like a normal human being. The next morning, Emma was called into the manager's office. She expected the worst. Instead, the manager handed her an envelope. "What is this?" Emma asked. "An offer from Richard Hale." Emma opened it. Inside was a job offer with a salary almost 3 times higher than what she earned at the restaurant. For a moment, she couldn't believe it. Then she understood. It was not a reward. It was a way to move her away from Victoria. Emma returned the envelope. "I can't accept this." The manager stared at her. "Emma, do you understand how much money this is?" "Yes." "And you're refusing it?" "Yes." That evening, Victoria came to the restaurant during another storm. She looked nervous. Emma brought her tea and sat nearby. "I thought you might not come back," Victoria said. "I almost didn't." Victoria looked down. "Because of my father?" "Yes." There was silence between them. Then Victoria whispered, "Everyone leaves when my father tells them to." Emma smiled gently. "I'm not everyone." Suddenly, lightning flashed across the windows. Victoria froze. Emma did not say anything. She simply moved her chair closer. "Remember," Emma said. "We're counting." Victoria nodded. 1. Thunder came. 2. Another flash. 3. Slowly, Victoria's breathing became calm. For the first time in years, she did not feel alone during a storm. Several months later, Richard Hale returned to the restaurant. He saw his daughter laughing with the waitresses. He saw Emma working nearby. But most importantly, he saw something he had never seen before. His daughter looked happy. Richard walked toward Emma. "I owe you an apology," he said. Emma looked surprised. Richard continued, "I thought money could protect Victoria from everything. I was wrong." Emma smiled. "You can't protect someone from every storm, Mr. Hale. Sometimes you just have to sit beside them." Richard looked at his daughter. Victoria was smiling. From that day forward, the restaurant was no longer afraid when Victoria entered. The waitresses no longer whispered warnings. And Victoria was no longer the cold billionaire's daughter everyone feared. She was simply a young woman who had finally learned that being strong did not mean hiding fear. Sometimes, real strength was allowing someone to sit beside you when the storm began. And Emma learned something too. You never really know what someone is fighting until you choose to treat them with kindness.